everybody.
Okay.
Because even when we decided to build it, challenge with how honest can we be? And if we can't be as honest as we really want to be, then what is the integrity of our relationship hinged on? Because a lot of our relationships, though they're great, they feel good, we have some great times, they're still swinging on the door hinges of lies.
But then again, you mentioned if your woman comes to you and says, hey, babe, do you think I'm fat? Do you think I look good? And you like, nah, you look good in it. We talking about just coming home, bringing your attitude, we talking about you just lied. I want the truth.
But I think they all go hand in hand. What it is how honest can, for instance, a man or woman may not be honest because my honesty may make this house cold. I'm just going to pick on me, right? Does every man and woman want to be honest? Absolutely. But do we have the bandwidth? Do we have the freedom to be honest and not get rejected, not get the cold shoulder, not get, I ain't giving you none, I ain't cooking for you?
But I feel like you have to start somewhere. Like, if that's what you want, then somebody got to break that ice and got to break that fakeness. You got to start somewhere. And I believe we've been working hard to get to that place. You know what I mean? Me and Ken have had some times, and then I'll be like, okay, or he'll come to me and be like, it's something I want to say, babe, and I can't say it. And I'll be like, just say it. Instead of me saying, just say it. Go ahead. I have to say, you know what? Just say it to me, babe. Because in that manner, he knows she might be strong enough to take what I'm about to say. She might be sitting in a posture. I've been seeing her reading certain books, working on herself, and now I feel like I can jump in there and I can say this thing because I notice she going down that lane. So babe, I just want to say, like, boom, 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 boom. Because if you don't do that, then what are we doing?
I agree. And that's why we're here tonight. And so here comes the curveball. A house divided upon itself cannot stand, right? The double-mindedness. It is a challenge when you live one way in public and another way private. And like in the book I wrote, The 10 Tokens, I have a joint that says the line between business and personal, the great illusion. There's no separation. So I'm going to kick you this next question, and then we're going to come back to it. I'm going to see what you think. So do you feel from day to day you have the freedom in this world to be honest, especially as a celebrity, when your privacy and your sacred time is always being invaded by people who genuinely love and adore you? But we've had times. Give you another example. Like, we watched the Kevin Hart comedy joint, and Kevin Hart was like, he was getting off the plane at the airport, and the lady was like, "Oh my God, Kevin, I just love you. Can you wait right here for my mama to come? She great land. I just want to take her." He was like, "Yeah, go get your mom." As soon as he left, he said, "I ain't waiting on you." He said, "People make me into an a-hole, because he can't be honest." Yeah. So being a celebrity, do you feel? Because now we're coming outside the house. Do you feel you have room to be honest as you probably want to be at times?
Well, let's just start here with me. Who laughed?
Nice back there laughing.
Oh.
Because, I'm building it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, I think everybody knows nothing about my life in being a celebrity has ever been private. They have always kept me on the forefront. Okay? And then when I'm from Hypo, North Carolina, so when I started doing interviews, they would ask me questions, and I thought I was supposed to answer. And then I remember Idol would pull me to the side and be like, "You might want to lie." But I was just like, for what? And I thank God that I never did. Like, everything that I have ever been through, I've always sat down and talked about it and owned up and was like, yeah, that was me. I ain't proud of all of it, but it's a part of my testimony. So now now nobody can come back and be like, "Ooh, guess what I heard?" You heard it from me. So it makes me feel so much better. Because I be like, you ain't got no secrets on me. You can't go take that and turn it into a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be honest. The other day we were watching, me and Ken was standing in here, and we were watching back some of the playback, and we were just laughing at ourselves. And I was looking at all the comments. Everybody was having a ball. Everybody was having a good time. And then here come somebody. I guess they thought it would hurt me, but I remember I posted something the other day, and I got it from Tink. And she posted, "You keep trying to come at me with my past, but I sold that building long time ago." Somebody came on the thing, was like, "Can she even read yet?" I laughed. I said, now that is so old. That's like old. And matter of fact, that ain't even the correct information.
Because you over here Yeah, give her my bomb, nice. The irony about that is, whoever this clown is, you sitting on our Taylor talks.
Watching the
You
whole
must be
thing.
new, because almost every other Taylor talk she's referring
No,
a
no, no, no,
book
no.
that she
They're not.
read
No,
or
they're
whatever.
not new. They're not new. There are people who are stuck in the past and they want to try to keep me back in my past, not understanding that I've been long gone from that. I'm so far into my future. And I gave you the information. So you can't hit it back with me. So no, I've never had a time in my celebrity, whatever you call it, where I felt like I couldn't be myself. I take my shoes off. I'm country. I tell people what I eat, when I'm hungry. I make songs about it.
Open up, let me in.
Let me in. What we gonna eat? What we gonna eat? This is me.
Yeah.
I had a song about it on my first album that said, "This is me." So no, I'm straight.
Well, I salute you for that. I'm gonna speak for the other half. I don't feel like I can always be honest as I would like to be.
Did I just go off?
Nah,
I didn't.
you ain't even snap. You just
He didn't. He gave me a boom. He didn't give me one of my little chimes.
he
So
gave
I
you a
thought-
bomb because it was heavy in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call
That
you
was a
that
Kendall
word.
bomb. That's
I
like-
didn't mean to call you that word, but you was acting like
No,
that
she
word.
meant
when
it,
you-
and I mean it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely mean it. Clowns. But you know, they necessary though. Like, you know, you gotta have those every once in a while. Sometimes people try to pull you down. They really just remind you how far you've come.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Now, as long as you don't, you know it. As long as we don't respond in a manner that reflects where we were, then that person's left with only their plate sitting on the table. You know what I'm saying? You know, bon
That's
appetit.
why I apologize for that word.
You don't gotta. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. On my end, nah. Cause I'm always looked as a person who can bring a solution. I'm always looked at as somebody that can have the answers. When I pick up my phone, it's very rare somebody's calling to give me something or pour something into me. Sometimes I don't feel like I could be honest. Sometimes I talk to cats and I just want to be like, bro, stop crying like a girl, be a man and do it. You know, stop spending your money like that. You won't have these problems. You know, so sometimes I don't feel as though I can be as honest with people as I want to be. So you teeter these lines of these true lies, pacifying it. Want to make sure you give them a listening ear or be a sounding board. But there's some days when I just want to be like, do whatever you would do if I didn't exist and you ain't have me to call. What would you do if I was dead? Go do that.
But sometimes I want to encourage you to be that. Because people actually really want that. A lot of the men that you speak to were fatherless men who didn't have role models. And I'm going to tell you like you always tell me with Dallas. Don't baby him. Dallas want to be disciplined. Like I notice, like if I get on Dallas, he'll hold that pout all week long. And I be coming to Ken like, he just pouting and he mad. Ken will say something to him, stern, strict, and he'll walk off and he'll come right back and be like, look what I made. I'll be like, dog. But I noticed that most men, they want that. They need that in their life. So I want to encourage you because you'll feel like a hostage in your own body. You'll feel like a prisoner in your own body. And so that piece of you, I know you had to carry for so long because you were in corporate. Now that you're not in corporate, you don't have to, you don't have to carry that. And I think that's why a lot of people would say to me, like, how did you make it through this, that, and the third? Because I never tried to be something that I wasn't. And you know what I mean? And I'm not saying you're being something that you wasn't.
No, I hear you loud and
but
clear.
yeah, let it out.
And it's only with, you know what I'm saying? With the rest of them, I give it to them raw. But it's other ones, you know, I think we always tiptoe. There's a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, and he talks about your circle of influence versus your circle of concern. And the things that I can influence, those things I may be a little more sensitive to, you know, but the things that are outside my circle of concern, it's like, yo, it's a fully loaded clip. I'm going to give it to you. Like my mama say, chew the meat and spit out the bones. And that's on you. You know what I mean? But I appreciate that, though. You got my back like spinal cords.
I got your back like what?
Spinal cords. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. This is a slippery slope. This is the one when mischief happens. This is the one when scandal and infidelity and schemes take place. That gap between the truth and honesty. And I have my own personal saying that I created. And I said, at times, truth leaves a tab that honesty has to pay for. Okay? Truth sometimes leaves a tab that honesty has to pay for. I'll give you a quick example, and I just want your take on it. You say, babe, did you stop by the store and get the milk like I asked when you come home? I said, yes, I did. I'm telling you the truth. Honesty is, and I also went across the street and ran into the gas station and played them little slots. I don't gamble, but I played the slots for about 30 minutes as well. You get what I'm saying? The truth is more built and hinged on that person's expectations, where honesty knows no boundaries, right? It's limitless. One of the things that came to mind, we talking about true lies, is how a lot of people are able to walk that tightrope of truth, but they're not being honest. So no angle, no, I'm not trying to guide you anywhere. Just curious to get your opinion, because I respect that. What's your thoughts on choosing to either lean towards telling the truth, which means you have to ask me the right question, or being honest means that I'm going to give you the totality of whatever that experience was, whatever that outcome was. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of relationships, you can be telling the truth. You're not necessarily lying, but you're not being honest. You get what I'm saying? Just what do you think about that? Like, there's no angle. I just put this in there, and I just wanted your opinion, because I know back in the day I manipulated that. Not with you, I'm saying, but
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
yeah, you know what it is. But I'm just saying, because with the truth, you got to ask me the right question.
Ooh, okay.
But being honest means I'm gonna give you something you never probably would have came around to asking me in the first place.
I like what you just said. You was like, I'm talking about how I used to be. How I used to be. I think our past relationships helped us in our marriage because we saw what didn't work. We saw what brought on conflict, arguments, right? So when we got married, we came in it so open, like, look, this is everything.
I told you to run.
But we came in like, so for example, if you was to call me, I wouldn't have to ask you a certain question. You're going to give me the rundown. You don't have to ask me a certain question. Yeah. I'm going to give you the rundown. Yeah. And that's not something that weighs on us and we feel like, oh, God, I got to tell him everything. That's just something that we do because we have experienced when one little thing can go wrong. You be like, well, hold up. I just ran over there to get me some Dunkin' Donuts, and I didn't tell you that. And then in the girl or the guy's mind is, nah, you ain't gonna get no don't. You see what I'm saying? It causes unnecessary arguments. So when we met each other, we were at a place in our lives where we were ready to experience something different, and we learned from our past experience, and we came in it totally different. So it's different for us. But now let's go back to our past, where
some people's current.
And then you gotta think about it like this too. Maybe the person I was with, I didn't want to give him all that. I didn't care. You didn't care. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, why? Don't clock me. I'm leaving if you ask me one more time. You know what I mean? Do you understand? You're trying to find ways to get out of a relationship.
You don't want to be nowhere. You wait on that little argument to spark.
Yeah.
So you be like, that's why I can't be with somebody like you. And then you be like, hey,
you love them, but it's something on the inside that you be like, but it's something quite now. I don't know if you the one. So you say it one more time. I'm going to my brother's house, right? So I've had those, but I didn't really want to be there. There was something in the relationship that let me know, like, this ain't it. Your heart is just in it because you forced your way in it. You just want love. You don't like to be alone. You want companionship. So now you're just forcing yourself here, but you're not giving them everything. Then the stuff they asking you for, you know exactly what they're asking you for too. You know it.
And that's why I wanted to bring that out, because there are some relationships who are not able to experience what we've overcome. Now, there's a lot that have and are further ahead than us, and salute. But there are some relationships that are playing in the boxing ring of truth and honesty, and feelings are getting hurt, and expectations are being stepped on, and promises are being broken. You know what I mean? I think it's very important to choose, because I believe you can't be honest with anybody else until you first honest with yourself. And since we wake up, most of us, not all, wake up from the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep, you're living in this matrix of lies and facades and faces and so on and so forth. It's only natural it's going to bleed over and translate into your relationship, which is the one place it's not supposed to be. But then echoing back Nikki Giovanni, you have men and women out there who's saying, Nah, give me the boom. Give me the Matrix. It's like watching the Matrix, right? I'm that guy. I watched all of them several times. You had certain people that plugged into the Matrix and would plug out, but would rather be in the Matrix. Because in the Matrix, you got superpowers, you're healthy, you look your best, you're desirable, you're wealthy, so on and so forth. But then when you come back to reality, the light goes dim, and that's not something you're happy with. So what she was basically saying in 1971 is, no, let us be in the Matrix. Let us be in the Matrix where everything is happy and everything is peachy and you got superpowers and I got a cape and everything is right and everything is peachy and there's no complaints up under the sun. I'd rather be in the Matrix than to see you plug in for everybody else and then plug out with me and we broke and we're trying to rub two niggas together and we can't communicate and the sex is horrible.
But isn't being in the Matrix still?
But that's what social media is.
But it's still not cool. So what I'm saying on the other end, agreeing with what she's saying, but also saying, now let's tap in spiritually. Okay. Let's not live in the Matrix. Let's find out what peace and joy actually looks like for us. Let's stand in the love of Christ-like kids, right? And let's actually find out because guess what? It might be broke. We might be broke, but at least we broke together.
And I think that's the biggest concern. That's one thing why I love what we have so much is because we've had a lot, we've had nothing, and we've had a lot again together. We know who we are. But like that joint that's on Netflix, that Social Experiment, I can't remember, social something. It's basically talking about social media and how since the rise of social media, there's been more suicides, more depression, more kids with anxiety issues because they're living in that matrix. They're choosing that true lie. And they're spending more time trying to figure out, how can I get these likes up? How can I get these follows up? How can I get more reach and more interaction than plugging out of that matrix and looking at yourself in the mirror and figure out, how can I build my confidence? How can I build my self-esteem? How can I triple my net worth? How can I expand my network? And so they choose to spend most of their time living through that filter of the matrix because they're accepting a life of true lies.
So boom, my answer from the jump then, it's all wrong. It's all wrong.
That's a fact. So I wanted to tie in and keep flowing. I wanted to tie in how in 1971, she made a comment. But when you zip line that over to 2020, you see how now that thing has expounded and now it has multiplied and it has germinated to where when you look at all this fake news and all this spin and all of this social media nonsense and all these filtered fake relationships, when you step back, you see that we are in that matrix.
Yeah.
And there's very few people as individuals, especially couples, which we represent, who are able to pull out of that and deal with the honesty, the truth of the matter, getting down to the bone marrow of the situation so that you can build something real because most people are more happy plugging in and they'll stay plugged in from morning to night to see how many likes that thing got, how many views did it get, when your real life is sitting right there passing you by. Your real children are sitting right there.
Right.
Your real husband is sitting right there.
Right.
And that's why I want to try to help bring this whole thing full circle to show that if we're not careful, we'll be looking at 2020 how we're looking right now at 1971.
Yeah.
Because of these true lies.
Yeah. Okay, so then I still stand on, Yeah,
facts.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, though. When you look at that whole paradigm, because they were coming right on the back end of the civil rights movement and supposed to be Black Power, and she was a Panther, and you would think we'd been no closer and tighter than we were at that particular point in time. But we're still just as divided,
of course,
just as confused,
of course,
and just as willing to lie to ourselves and then others.
It's crazy because it goes back even further than that. When I'm sitting and reading my word, I be like, dang, yo. A lot of stuff that I be seeing, I'm like, this been happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. We would go out and serve other masters and work hard, and then God would send his own. They'd be like, God said, let's go. And be like, go where? Who are you?
Or do even one more solid. Children of Israel would get hungry. Them cats couldn't fast or nothing. They would get hungry, and as soon as they would get hungry, they'd start bickering with Aaron and Moses, talking about, man, we should have just been in Egypt.
Right.
As slaves, at least we had food. We'd rather plug back into the matrix than to deal with any kind of challenge that we're facing in this real reality.
It's been, yeah.
So isn't that interesting?
Wow. That's deep.
These
Makes
are
me go read a little more, but that's dope. That's deep.
So from biblical, ancient principles and testimonies to 1971 to 2020, have we gone anywhere, or are we still like the children of Israel circling that mountain,
Come on,
just
man.
dying off from generation to generation and getting worse in the process?